Annual conferences provide useful opportunities for intellectual exchanges and participation by academic, non-academic, and corporate members of Nifst, as well as stakeholders in general. For those who may not be attending Nifst conference, or rather who may be attending Nifst conference for the first time, let me begin by informing you that Nifst is the largest body of professionals in Africa. It is the custodian of the largest repository of documentation for said expertise, knowledge base, and intellectual property in Africa. Nifst members supervise negotiations in industry, trade, commerce, government, regulatory agencies, as well as academia, research, and development. Many Nifst members are consultants and associated to international development organizations on food, nutrition, and policy and safety matters. In fact, at this conference, we shall be celebrating one of our members, former Nifst Body of Fellows Chairman, Professor O.C. Awo, with an exemplary award following his emergence as President, Fellow of the International Academy of Food Science and Technology. The first Nifster, and indeed the first African to ever serve the International Union of Food Science and Technology in this capacity. At this conference also, let me inform the gathering that the Dola Kokoka Award for the best female graduate in Nigeria, both for Polytechnic and University, in the 2020-2021 academic session shall be presented to the winners. As we congratulate the winners, it is my prayer and challenge that a sponsor will come forth for the next conference to fund similar awards for the male category, since doing so seeks to promote academic excellence at a time when attention is unfortunately drifting away from education. Kindly permit me to highlight some important developments and activities in our institute since the close of the 46th conference, which was held in Abuja in 2022. IUFO's conference and induction of fellows held in Singapore from late October to early November. A good number of delegates from Nigeria, including the Nifst president, IPP, and many distinguished Nisters were in attendance to celebrate with the Nigerian fellows listed. 2, a meeting with the former Vice President, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibanjo, held in April of 2023 in company of His Excellency Professor Hafiz Abubakar, and that meeting was followed up by a request from Nifst, culminating in the admission and inauguration of Nifst into the National Nutrition Council of Nutrition, National Council on Nutrition, NCN, in September of 2023 by the current Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Kashim Shettima. NCN is statutorily chaired by the Vice President and is the highest nutrition policy-making body in Nigeria. In June 2023, a formal request for a list of registered food companies in Nigeria was made to the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojishola, who in turn approved Nifst's request, and that list has since been circulated among all 11 chapters of Nifst for the purpose of corporate membership drive to bring the food industry closer for a more robust relationship going forward. 4, Nifst participated at the 25th Biennial Conference of the South African Association of Food Science and Technology, which held in Cape Town in late August of 2023. At that Congress, a proposal paper entitled Strengthening Food Research, Innovation and Development in Africa's Tertiary Institutions through Professional Partnership among professional associations was presented during plenary. A memorandum of understanding is being worked on by both parties. Nifst looks forward to more of such partnerships and collaborations with other professional associations and corporate entities for the purpose of advancing food science research, development, and innovation. 5, a Nifst curriculum development committee has been put up to develop an in-house minimum standard for the field of food science and technology in Nigeria, and to harmonize the National Universities Commission non-uniform FST curriculum domiciled concurrently in engineering and agriculture faculties. There seems to be a consensus among Nifsters that the best place for FST as a course is in universities, is in standalone faculties or colleges, as is the case in Abeokuta, Makurdi, and a few others. 6, a code of conduct committee has been put in place to develop a set of acceptable standards for members and recommend appropriate sanctions for breaches. These, when completed and implemented, shall deepen the professional and ethical conduct of members. 7, at the beginning of the tenure of this ESCO, a past president urged that we emulate some professional bodies in funding our past presidents to attend meetings, and that has been done for the first time this year through the support of Nifst. 8, following a formal request from Nifst, which, by the way, is the Nigerian Council of Food Science, and Technology, a body that is charged with the regulation of the practice and profession of food science. We were able to generate the first batch A of the list in May of food professionals in Nigeria, and that has been dispatched. The batch B shall be generated and forwarded to Nifst after this conference. The strategy was hopefully made to allow members benefit from the free registration provided for by the Act establishing Nifst. Furthermore, Nifst received some invitations from Nifst to participate in some of our activities. As a result, Nifst and Nifst mutually agreed on the appellation of CSSN to be used for Nifst, to be used by Nifst registered members. Nifst also made inputs to some of Nifst's operational documents as well as their website. Nifst hereby appeals to Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to inaugurate Nifst as soon as possible to facilitate the smooth running of that regulatory body as enshrined in its Establishment Act of 2019. Now, the theme of this year's conference, Nigerian Foods for the Global Market, at this auspicious location of Abia State, home to the entrepreneurial spirit of Nigeria, would not have come at a better time. The progress made so far in Nigeria's agricultural production demands a commensurate effort at developing value addition and strategizing for local and global markets patronage, which would ultimately contribute to the country's economic development. Consequently, the importance of the global food market in achieving sustainable development is established in the framework of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, as globalization is one of the most significant processes that can impact the development of food markets across the globe. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please recall that Nigeria spends huge amounts of scarce foreign currency on importation of various food products compared to what she earns from food export. For example, in 2022, 1.9 trillion naira worth of food products were imported into Nigeria, while only 598 billion worth was exported. Therefore, promotion of locally processed foods in the international space will not only boost the economy of the country, but incentivize healthy traditional foods in a very sustainable manner. However, for a food product, whether intermediate or ready to eat, to realize its real market value, it must conform to established local as well as international standards and norms. It is my hope that Nifst will continue to contribute to the provision of skilled manpower, which is essential for the promotion of the production of prepackaged, safe, globally competitive processed foods in Nigeria for export. Furthermore, Nifst is committed to providing support through collaborations with government and non-government entities in the area of capacity building, linkages, and research. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to urge participants at this conference to deliberate elaborately on the issues around this year's conference theme, with a view to proffering suggestions regarding urgent steps that ought to be taken to mitigate the challenges facing Nigerian foods in a global food market. I wish you a truly rewarding 47th annual conference. Long live Nifst, long live Abia State, long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are we clapping for the President of Nifst? Thank you very much. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize seated in our midst the former Deputy Governor of Kano State, Professor Hafiz Abubakar. I also want to bring to our notice that the Chief Librarian, the University Librarian of the Michael Obara University of Agriculture, Mudike, Dr. Isaac Obonna, is here with us. A round of applause for him. And just before I bring the chairman of the occasion for the opening remarks, now that you are in Omwa here, can we tell you or show you what we are made of? Students, are you ready? Omwa 2023. Ebano 2023. Omereme. Let me now invite the chairman for the opening remarks and the presentation of comments.
Control them. Thank you, Nifst. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here, members of the Nigerian Institute Association of Students. Thank you very much. You are bringing cola now. All right, don't worry. Your Excellency, the Governor of Abia State, ably represented by the SSG, Professor Carlo, because any melody, agatarịrị ọjị were si na chi ehole ndewo
Abia mmammanụ ngoji ịma na unu mara ọjị anaghị anụ n'oyibo. The Kola does not hear English. Sorry. Permit me to use this language that the Kola understands. Ọjị anaghị anụ English. Emume ọjị, asị anyị bịa mewe emume ọjị, ọ ga-eteke time. So ama arịọ ndị eze niile, ndị Ụmụahịa, ndị nwa ala nọ niile, biko ha gbapụ ọjị ọsọ ka m were ya ịghachikwa onye wetara ọjị. ka o were ya nye onye ọbịa anyị wụ His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Ọjị gedere gị aka nna.
Your Excellency, our Lord. Your Excellency. Your Excellency. Thank you. God blessed Nifst with a lot of excellencies this year. Can we clap for the Lord? Thank you very much. So, President, our Lord, you were in it. All right. Morning, sir. No, sir. Let the eating of the cola continue, please. Let everybody have a bite, and let's continue. We are not wasting time because we are in a hurry to start and finish this opening ceremony. I want to welcome everybody. And what I just want to say as my opening remark is that our theme is Nigerian foods for the global market. I want to welcome His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi, who accepted to be here live to speak to us. You are very much welcome, sir. Thank you. And want to thank and appreciate our chief host, His Excellency Dr. Alex Oti, who is not here presently, but has done everything possible to make sure that we have a very wonderful outing in Abia State. May we clap for him, please. He is ably represented by his secretary to the government, Professor Kenneth Carlo. We are so happy to have you around. I want to thank every other person that is here, Professor Chinewu, who is going to speak to us in just 2 minutes concerning our theme, and then call up our keynote address speaker to speak to us before he moves to other programs he has today. I want to say that food is available everywhere in Nigeria, but absent. But Nigerian food is absent in the international market. We are here this week to discuss this matter and encourage our great nation to achieve a situation where Nigerian food leaves Nigeria and is accepted in the east, in the west, in the north, and in the south of nations of this world. That is why we're here. And I want to say welcome, welcome, and welcome for being here. Thank you very much.
Are you clapping for our chairman and the vice chancellor? Before I invite the team reviewer of the 47th annual conference of Nifst, I want to leave you with a question. I understand that a good number of us have traveled far and wide, and you have made purchases from different food shelves. My question is, did you perchance see any Nigerian indigenous food products in food shelves you saw outside Nigeria? If you did you buy? If you bought, what is your review about it? While you take time to answer those questions, let me invite a distinguished professor of food science and technology, Professor S.C. Achinewehun, for the review of the theme of this year's conference. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Abia State, represented by the Secretary to Government, Your Excellency, the keynote address speaker, all other protocols observed. I'm giving only 3 minutes. I think at the end of which, I'll take them to the tribunal for the short method, short period. I'm talking about Nigerian food for the global market. We know as far back as 1960, when Nigeria got independence, foodstuffs were exported. Palm products from the east, granite from the west, granite from the north, cocoa from the west. That was in the raw state. Recently, if you have traveled overseas, you see Nigerian foods everywhere. Fish, dry fish, yam, cocoyam, plantain. And Nigerians nowadays are exporting Nigerian foods to overseas. Cocoa that used to be exported raw is now exported processed. Go to Cross River State. You will see, you will hear what I'm talking about. In Akwa Ibom, they plant out coconut and process. Some are also being exported. Cashew nuts are being exported. Now, plantain chips will replace potato. Have you tested, have you gone to the supermarkets to buy plantain chips? It is a very, very important product for export. And several other things. Many more are being exported. But there is a problem. Nigerians do not meet the quality specifications of the foreigners. That is what we are going to look at very seriously. How do we meet the quality specifications? And for that reason, several of these products are rejected. What challenge we have is to make sure that quality is met. That's a challenge to those of you who will eventually be registered as certified food scientists. There is no doubt that Nigerian foods have potentials, great potentials for export. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. At this point, I want to invite the chairperson, local organizing committee of the 47th Annual Conference of the Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology to come and read a brief citation on the keynote speaker. Make welcome Professor Mrs. Norma Bass.
Thank you very much. His Excellency is already standing for his citation. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Choma, OT, OFR, ably represented by the Secretary to the State Government. Please permit me to stand on existing protocol to read the very abridged. They said I should abridge what has been abridged, so I will abridge and abridge. Thank you very much. The core profile and competencies of His Excellency, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. Mr. Peter Gregory Obi is an accomplished and widely acknowledged thought leader in public policy and public service, good governance, international business, 21st century leadership, and human capital development. He has held executive positions in the banking and financial sectors with resounding success and international acclaim. He has the record of the youngest chairman of a very successful bank and has also led leading positions in several successful businesses. He was elected governor of Anambra State in 2006, and he deployed the Millennium Development Goal as state policy during his 8-year tenure. His state became #1 in academic performance at the secondary school level, with a record improvement in male child enrollment, which was a major problem before his tenure. He was the only state governor among his peers and to date who led substantial savings in naira and dollar for his successor. He attended so many educational institutions, both locally and abroad. He has held many previous positions. He has been member of many federal government committees. He has received so many awards and recognitions, and he is a member of many professional associations. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Abia State, Sir, President of Nifst, Chairman of the occasion, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to present to you a man of proven integrity, a golden fish that has no hiding place, a pragmatic and astute leader, a successful businessman and philanthropist, a teacher par excellence that meets his vocation as a lecturer, a quintessential leader, a man of the people, a former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi.
Please be seated. Please be seated. Please go on. Please be seated, please. Please be seated. Please be seated. The chairman of this occasion and my own very dear brother and senior, I have to recognize that, and senior professor, and the president of the organization, Your Excellency, the governor of Abia State, and my dear brother, represented by SSG, the former deputy governor, all the members of the high table, the DVCs here, and all that are gathered here. Let me stand on all you and existing protocols. You can imagine what it is for me when I received this invitation. First, I was wondering, why invite me? I'm not a food scientist. I'm not a farmer. I'm just a trader. But these days, I receive invitation for a variety of different topics I know little or not about. So when I received this invitation, I called the person who sent me the invitation and said, how do you want me to come and do this? Coincidentally, the invitation came from somebody I regarded as one of my best commissioners. And we have a policy when I serve as a governor. Whatever the commissioner wants you to do, you must do it. Because I was just the coach and they were the players. So whatever they direct, I'll do. He said, Peter, I want you to be no more. Just come. But I believe that for me, when you talk about politics, it is about humanity. You can't talk about politics unless you're talking about humanity. Anything that you're doing in politics that involves of service to humanity, it is no longer politics. And you can't talk about humanity without talking about food. At least I read philosophy. And thank God VC can recall that he knows I went to University of Nigeria and Nsukka. In these days where you need to show your classmates and people who went to school with you. I read philosophy. Philosophy says that nobody is happy when you don't know where the next meal will come from. So there's a linkage between food and politics. Again, that's why our politicians invented the word stomach infrastructure, which we use wrongly. But you cannot have a system walk without talking about feeding. It's food. People have to know where the next meal will come from. And deal with the local situation first. So before they take it out, let's be sure that we're eating something here. Because we too have, I would have said Nigerian food for Nigerian people to eat. Because we're hungry here. I look at these students. I'm sure you are hungry. Your VC will tell you, I always say it whenever I have opportunity. As a student of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, we protested. I protested. I was part of the protest when they reduced our meat from 3 to 2. Today, you will be lucky if you see food, talk less of meat in it. So I think we have to include Nigerians. So for me, when I got this invitation, but again, if you have listened to my going around trying to campaign for the highest office of the land, I've said that there's nothing wrong with Nigeria. I believe in Achebe's position. There's nothing wrong with Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with the country called Nigeria, the land, the air, everything about Nigeria is good. The only thing that is missing in Nigeria is leadership. The only thing that is missing is that people like me, politicians, who people have invested their trust in, have decided to turn the country into a gigantic criminal enterprise where you have to just steal as much as you can, even when you don't need it. Just keep stealing. And that has made it that everybody today is suffering. So, but when I was campaigning, I keep talking about issue of food, issue of Nigeria being self-sufficient in food, issue of using food as a means of turning around our economy. And I still maintain that. You can't talk about production. You can't talk about anything in the economy without first talking about food. If you look at today, the average Nigerian spends a huge percentage of his money, if you're lucky to have a job, to buy food. For those who are lucky to have a job, percentage of your income goes into food. If you talk about inflation today, the highest contributor to our inflation is food. Food inflation is the highest. And we are today in list of, when you talk about hunger index, Nigeria is among the worst today. And when you talk about multi